showed much of this truck lately. I have a lot of videos stacked up on it where I've disassembled it and cut parts off of it. But some of you guys don't like the Bronco videos, so I don't post a lot of them. Anyway, this video is not really about the Bronco, it's about how I do a couple of things. Now, I've taken the quarter off of one side and I'm fixing to remove the quarter on the other side. And then I've got to replace one of these rear corners back here. So I want to show you how I brace everything up and how I have already braced things up before some of this stuff has come off. You know, and it keeps everything in its proper position where I can go back and replace a panel and know that it's going to fit properly. Now this vehicle right now is still sitting on its chassis. However, I have taken all of the bolts off of the chassis and it's ready to be lifted. But before it gets lifted, I want to add a couple of more braces to it so that things won't move around. Now this is that Bronco that came out of Alaska that's rusted up from the inside out. And you can't see some of the panels where it's been rusted because it's been patched over with a thin piece of metal to get by the state inspection. That is what has caused this whole problem to become from your average fix a few things paint job to a basically almost full-blown repair job with most of the panels, because it has been hidden. It wasn't really hidden from the sale or for the sale. It was hidden because of the state inspections, because of all the salt and the snow and the stuff that they treat the roads with up there will just eat your car apart. Once it's eaten apart so much, they won't let it drive on the road anymore. Just think how old this vehicle is, from '77, how many repairs it's had done over the years. And I might add, they did a good job hiding most of them. So let's weld this stuff in and take a look at what we did. All right, so what I've done is I put a diagonal bar across where my door bars are. Now the door bars went on one at a time as I removed the doors so that the body would not tweak. Then I put a crossbar in a diagonal. Then I put a crossbar in that goes straight. That keeps the body from flexing both directions. And then on the rear, I've got a crossbar going where the tailgate was, which is the exact size of the tailgate opening, not pulling it in. All right, and then I put a diagonal bar on the tailgate to keep the post from going inward or side to side or outward. So that keeps everything, hopefully the four corners of the cab where they need to be, so I can continue to cut parts off and weld new parts on. Now getting parts for this Bronco right now has been really, really tough, trying to get the good stuff. I can get some of the Chinese stuff, but just didn't really want to. For just a few dollars more, we got some really, really good stuff. So that stuff is starting to trickle in, and I've almost got everything that I need to proceed on to getting this body reskinned and getting it ready to go to paint and body. So it's not a fun process. I don't really enjoy this as much as I used to back in the day, cutting the rust out and stuff. It's hard work for an old guy, but at the same time, it's fun to get one of these cars back on the road. So let's get after it some more. Now with this being a 77 model, it's the only year that's got the gas doors like this. Being that it's the only year that they do the gas doors like that, nobody repops a quarter panel that I know of so far, and if you do know, let me know, where you can get these gas doors already in it, because it's just too expensive to make one part for 1 year only car. So what we're gonna have to do, because we can't get the correct panel, is cut these doors out and put those on the new panel. Now you saw in the blue Bronco where I eliminated the caps that used to stick out, and then we arched the wheel well. Well, this is gonna be more of a restoration type project instead of a custom project. So we're gonna go back with original style panels and then put these doors back in their proper location. So I'll go ahead and cut this panel off and leave these doors in, but I won't take this panel apart. Now this is a two-piece panel. This is the welded seam right here where it's made. This is the bad part. All right, so it's been patched and patched and patched on the inside to where you can't really recognize it if you're looking to buy it. But once I removed all the old paint and the Bondo and the goop they had on the outside, it's plain and simple to see all the little rusty holes all down through here. Now, a cheap fix, hey, fiberglass it like they did, wipe it smooth your finger, do some body work, and yeah, it'll last you another 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. Depends on how you use it. But once this gets wet behind here, it'll start popping off whatever you put up there, and that's not the correct fix. Other areas of interest are the areas with the floor, and you can see that we're peeling up fiberglass and we're peeling up paint. And what do we see underneath here? We see pitted, rusty metal. So there's a good chance that we're gonna have to put some floors in this, like right here where I'm almost poking my finger down through there. But we won't know until we get a little bit closer. But once I get this body braced and get the body off of the chassis, before I put any new panels on it, it's gonna get blasted. And when we blast it, we're gonna see all the stuff that we need to fix. For instance, down through here, it has rusted out over the years where the tailgate went up against it and they had a mat in here, and it has been patched from the bottom side and the top side, and it sandwiched the original sheet metal in between, which is probably rusted out. All right, in these corner areas right here, some of this is the original. Some of it is skinned on the outside and some of it is skinned on the inside, like this piece right here. You can see the welds, how they welded the seam of this, and then they went over it with some seam sealer, smoothed it out, and then they painted it. All right, up here, you've got the original door jamb. You've got the original door jamb, and right here, you've got where they have gone in and welded a piece all the way down that would make it look like it's not rusted out right there. So all inside here on the rocker, there's multiple pieces of metal that'll overlap each other. So all of this right here is gonna have to come off, and they've got a very heavy spray of undercoating on top of it where you can't see it, but you can run your fingers across there and feel all of the welds that they did. On the inside here, you can also see where they have put panels in. Like at one point, somebody must have put a floor in this thing because it was so far, and all they did was lay a piece on top of the original floor, and then they seam sealed it and kind of welded it in up here. So they didn't do any butt welds or anything like that. And in the center hump, you can see where that piece had rusted out, and they just put a new piece of flat steel in there, and the same thing was done on the other side. However, they did not take the old panel out before they put the new panel in. So the screw holes and stuff that are in here are the original, and all they did was cut a hole out of the top panel to put the new panel on top of it and pull it down that way. So that made things really hard for the next guy that's going to do a restoration. You can see the same thing where I've chiseled out different pieces. They had a piece laid right across here that was kind of halfway spot welded in, And I don't know if I've got that on video where I pulled that piece out. Very, very thin piece of sheet metal that they had basically glued in, not welded in, but glued in to hide the rust from whatever inspector would go. All right, so this area right here, you can see where it had rusted out. This area right here, this is a new piece of metal that they put in, and then they welded on the bottom, and then they didn't even seam seal it. That's basically just a big old thick weld that they kind of smoothed over just a little bit, running all the way down. And that's what's hiding the rust that's on the outside. And then on top of that, they put another piece of metal in right here, and that is done all over this truck. You can also see going all the way around the tubs where they bent a piece of metal and spot welded it in. This is another area that holds water from the factory and rust out. Well, that's their fix for that. They just covered up the original rusted out area. It still can be seen and felt underneath, but it looks good on the top side. There's even some areas up front where it didn't take much to find the rust, but you can see this right here, and that's what you'll find underneath all of these patch panels. A lot of times this channel right here, the windshield channel, is completely rusted out, and it all has to be repaired. Remarkably, this is in really good shape. There's not any rust on this, the hinge spring. There's no rust on the windshield frame itself. So, hey, I think we may be in good shape there, but hey, if there is a silver lining, that could be it, because that's a lot of work right there. So this quarter panel is done the same way as the other quarter panel. This right here is actually a fake cap of a quarter, where it's over top of a rusted area, and you can feel the rust and you can feel the spot welds where they put this panel on. So, all right, so that's just a quick update on the red Bronco, I call it, the second Bronco that's on the page that is starting to get a lot of attention, because the other Bronco is almost finished. But as far as this Bronco, we're nowhere near getting to the end of it, but we are getting into it pretty deep right now. So once these panels start landing here and I start getting these panels back on, we'll be jammed up in good shape on that. So anyway, just wanted to bring you a quick update on this project to start this week off. Hey, make sure you check out some of the other videos on this Bronco project and the other projects on the page. We sure are trying to get our subscriber count up to 10,000 by the end of the year. Doesn't mean a lot to you guys, but it means a lot to me. It's kind of a personal goal. I got about 800 subscribers to go. So if you hadn't subscribed to the channel, do this old boy a favor, hit that button and subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a dime. And if you don't know what you want for Christmas and your wife asks you, head on over to Spanky'sHotRods.com and pick you up hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts. So whatever you want, it's over there on that website, Spanky'sHotRods.com. I'll try to put a link in the description of this video to get you over there a little quicker. As always, thanks for watching. Now get out in the garage and go build something. See you guys in the next episode. Spanky's out of here.